10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to the show. I was going to wear my Stetson, but you can't wear it with got my Texas Flood t-shirt on. I can't wear the Stetson with the headphones. I was pulling my hair out, not literally, obviously, and thank you for bearing with me, everybody out there in the chat watching who was in the previous stream, and now we're in the third attempt at me setting this live stream up today, thanks to background issues with the software I use, which at the last minute decided, in my second version of the stream, the last minute decided to make that one null and void, and therefore I had to set up a third one. So as I say, I was pulling my hair out, not in the head though. So I do thank you everyone for bearing with me for this, and if you could help me, because the links I sent out were to the old stream, which may or may not be working. Probably not working now. I think the Rumble one might be working, but is checking that. So are you out there? I can see people in the chat. Can you hear me? What here? Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Pope and Stevie Ray Vaughan for. Oh, they're coming to get you already, Darius. I can hear that.
The music of his people.
It's Detroit. Thank you for your patience and your attempt to join multiple different studios for this show. What an inauspicious start. I'm gradually regaining my sense of humor.
Thank you for your cooperation.
Thank you for your cooperation. But we've got a special guest who's actually found the correct link. Welcome, Salty Traveling C.
Cheers. You guys,
hey, buddy.
You made me listen to Stevie Ray Vaughan, which is a wonderful thing, man. I had that guy on cassette, on vinyl.
Me too, cassette, yeah.
CD, man. And
now you've got them on digital.
And now I have them on digital. But it's because I ripped my own CDs.
I was hoping for today you would have changed your name back to Salty Texas C just for once.
Right. Well, they did make a state park for Stevie Ray Vaughan. He's got his own park there.
I know. And you know which band played at the opening? Texas Flood. I'll give them a plug. Stevie Ray Vaughan, prime Stevie Ray Vaughan cover band. Tommy Katana, brilliant guitar player, and they do other stuff too. But I've seen them a few times when I lived down there. They were the band that played at the opening. So Texas Flood, give them a plug. Thanks for joining me, buddy.
Yeah, I can't stay. I'm not being a professional. We'll just say that I got some time between things I'm supposed to do for the IRL, and I wanted to come and talk about blues and Texas blues and things like that. And you and I haven't worked together in a while, so
I know I've been missing you. But thank you also to Pope and Darius for being here. So there were 4.
It's actually super professional to squeeze a little appearance in between other things you got to do.
That's right.
That's the most
it
professional.
has nothing to do with YouTube. It has to do with like something that actually
life.
Pays money.
You know what's really professional is when you can be on 3 streams at once. Actually on the streams, not just in the chat.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
So
I didn't mean to interrupt, but yeah.
No problem, mate. My show opening with my beautiful monologue is just blown out of the water by technical issues and having to set the show up for a 3rd time before we went live. I would love I'll skip the monologue for now. Thank you everyone for being here in the chat, and if you could help by sending the link out, because it's the real link now. I would appreciate that. So Davina is here. David Glenn, good to see you. The wonderful Mod of Mods, Wrench of Wrenches, D-Bud Martin, Katie Bear's here. Who is this Stevie Ray Vaughan? Well, you know what, a vegan in Texas is someone who only eats meat once a day. So So Davina again. Sorry. Low Spec is here. Good to see you, buddy. FKHC 2005. Thanks for being here, buddy. Willie the Pimp, great track. I'm sure Frank Zappa had a Willie the Pimp as well. Is it the same song? I can't remember. Christian, bonjour, Christian. Good to see you, buddy. Soul Assassin is here. Lord Thoth was here. I'm hoping he's come over. Here's another wrench of wrenches. Anyone I've missed, we will catch up with you later. There is a poll in the chat as well. Eclay's here. Good to see you, buddy. Poll in the chat as well and Pete's here. Good to see you, buddy. In his lifetime, Stevie Ray only released 4 studio albums. There was a 5th just after, and then another one a few months after. So the poll is to pick your favorite of those 4. It's a blatant attempt at audience interaction, a YouTube poll. So before we dive into some Stevie talk, Christian, my good friend, my bon ami, $5 Canadian from Christian Dollar, because I have all of you 4 aficionados together. What are your thoughts about the other Vaughan, Jimmy? Well, I love Jimmy Vaughan and indeed have seen him live multiple times. A very different style, of course. Very different. More slow blues, more Albert Collins, more of that kind of slow picking rather than these rough rock sound that that Stevie could do, but so clear as opposed to raunchy. But so you must get a video. Well, you know what you're going to get. Little known fact, Christian's in that video somewhere, so if you look carefully. So Stevie Ray Vaughan. So blues lovers and guitar enthusiasts, this is right up their alley. It's a very special show because on October the 3rd, it would have been Stevie's 69th birthday, which makes me feel really old knowing that he would have been 69.
I remember the day, Brian, that he died. I remember because I had just gotten a pint of ice cream. I gotten paid, and I got a pint of ice cream, and I got a 12-pack of Beck's beer because I was going to live it up. And I turned on the news, and they said Stevie Ray Vaughan died in a helicopter crash, and I was like, "This has got to be a mistake. This has got to be a mistake. Like of all the people." Why? And I asked this decades later. Why Stevie Ray Vaughan? Like, why do we have to lose Stevie Ray Vaughan?
I know.
You know, some people will say, "Well, can you put a price on human life?" Yeah, I can actually. losing Stevie Ray Vaughan is not the same as losing, like I don't
Taylor
know.
Swift. Not that I wish any
Well,
harm upon her. Not that I wish any harm upon her.
Yeah,
But,
yeah. I was thinking of Kurt Cobain's
Oh, Kurt Cobain.
ex-wife.
sorry, Kurt
Kurt
Cobain's
Cobain's
ex-wife.
ex-wife.
Even better
Yeah.
choice. Yeah.
Yeah,
His
or
widow.
widow. Is it widow? Yeah, there's
Yeah,
a waste.
yeah.
There's a waste of skin and saline and
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
So,
as the
I mean,
meme goes, like, I will gladly sacrifice all of the Kardashians if we can get Freddie Mercury, Jimi Hendrix, and Stevie Ray Vaughan back.
yeah.
For one night only. For one night
Even
only.
even
you
just
know?
for one day.
So
I,
exactly. I was stunned too. I remember it distinctly as one of those times in
Mhm.
my adult life that I was absolutely floored. I think the other time I can specifically remember was Tom Petty, hearing Tom Petty had died.
Yeah,
I
that
just-
was a rough one.
I had to stop what I was doing and couldn't go back to it. It was that bad.
I mean, you and I are the same generation. You probably remember when you were a kid hearing about how Elvis died. Because I remember I was eating at my grandmother's table, and the TV said Elvis died, and my grandmother, who was not a nice person, said good, and then my grandfather.
dear.
Like, I mean, just because, people had strong feelings about Elvis,
Too
but
sexy.
I've never met anybody who didn't like Stevie Ray Vaughan, whoever said a negative thing about Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Well, apparently Joe Mascis, is that his name? Of
Oh,
Dinosaur,
Jesus.
said that he didn't think Stevie Ray Vaughan was a very good guitar player at all.
First
Jay
of all,
Mascis.
fuck him. Fuck Jay Mascis. He's an asshole in general, and I do know that. And I do appreciate Dinosaur Jr. But with time, as time goes on, and the more shit that people like Jay Mascis have said, the more cringe it is. It's not punk rock. It's just being an asshole. You know?
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
Stevie Ray I mean, people throw the word icon around and they don't mean, they just mean somebody famous.
Yeah.
They don't mean really an icon, the meaning of the word icon. Stevie Ray Vaughan is an icon. Someone that can have an image that's recognizable like that is an icon. And
he was a gateway drug to get me into a lot more other blues. And I had a friend who loved blues, and was from Stevie. Then I went in deep, and I went way back, and I went to the roots and the core of it. And Eric Clapton was screwing around with some of the bluesy stuff too. But I went down a rabbit hole in my 20s where I was listening to Howling Wolf, and I was getting into just really deep stuff in the Delta blues.
Not Howling Oates. That's a different band.
Oh no! I mean,
Howling Oates.
But once you start down and I recommend everybody lose yourself in the blues. Back then, of course, you had to buy a cassette or a DVD. We didn't have streaming.
I had all the
chance,
cassettes.
right?
Yeah, it was all on cassette. Yeah, but I was the same. It was a gate. Stevie Ray Vaughan for me was a revelation because I'd been most of my life into rock, metal, hard rock, a lot of blues stuff from the blues boom era and Clapton and so on. When I heard Stevie Ray Vaughan, it was like, oh, here's a whole other world I didn't know existed. And then it led into many other artists and sounds. I just wanted to say thank you to Joe, who unfortunately can't make the show today, for $1.99, a super chat. Local star Kenny Wayne Shepherd's hero, Hail Rock. I've also seen Kenny Wayne Shepherd many times. In fact, I went out to Dublin once specifically to see him in a bar, and it was great.
Another great blues guitar player.
Yeah, and very much influenced by and in the lineage of the inheritor of much of what Stevie Ray Vaughan was doing. Yeah, because he influenced an entire generation himself, as well as we'll talk about his influences too.
Sorry, go ahead. There's a Native American blues band called Indigenous. Check them out if you like Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Okay, sure.
That.
So a little something for Joe.
I'm a dirty white boy. Damn dirty white boy. Just a dirty white boy.
Yes, and FKHC, yes, there are bars in Ireland, especially in Dublin. And I saw Kenny Wayne Shepherd in a bar in Dublin for the first time. I've seen him many times since, and it was great. Let me just thank you, Joe, and let me just figure out how to take that off the screen because I'm lost today. I had it all set up beautifully, and there we go, right? So we've got a lot to talk about. Stevie Ray Vaughan, Dallas native, of course, not Austin. He's associated with Austin. Dallas, Oak Cliff, Dallas, born and raised, and indeed, sadly, buried there with his mum and dad. So yeah, I've been to Oak Cliff quite a few times, Bishop Arts District and all that. So yeah, and he was always, you know, associated with Austin, but Dallas was his home town, and born there on October 3rd, 1954. So as I say, he's coming up for
Wow.
69 years old. Look at these great pictures. I mean, he didn't just have the guitar chops; he had a style as well.
Stage presence.
Yeah,
And it wasn't for all of his kind of outfits, and he was doing that sort of Texas blues style before there was really a Texas blues style, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
he kind of
At least
created it out of thin air in a lot of ways.
Yeah, yeah. And I remember there was a friend of you know, I got a friend of a friend, but there was a blues band in New England. The guy, it's called Room Full of Blues. If you haven't checked them out, go check them out.
I've seen them live, actually.
Dude, see, it's a small world when you talk about the blues, right? But
Yeah.
there's a guy, they had a saxophone player by the name of Jimmy Piccolo, and he would play up and down New England and places like that. But the one guy that Stevie Ray Vaughan wanted to have play when he played Carnegie Hall was Jimmy Piccolo, A Room Full of Blues. So that if you ever watch the Carnegie Hall when he plays Carnegie Hall, his saxophone player blows everybody away.
wow.
And I met that guy and had a drink with him a couple of times when I was in New England. So it's just a small world. Like, these guys know each other, especially this is the 90s. You know,
I'm a bit
early
disappointed
90s.
that it wasn't a piccolo player called Jimmy Saxophone.
Okay, no, that would be funny. That would be funny.
So
But that sounds like a porn. That sounds like a porn plot,
hang on.
actually.
So yeah, this it does, doesn't it? Play my piccolo. Can you blow my piccolo? As Courtney pointed out, the famous SRV Strat #1, and the only other guitar like this I can think of that looks like this is Rory Gallagher's.
Mm.
If you see Rory Gallagher's Strat,
Yeah.
equally worn.
I mean, Eddie Van Halen's Frankenstrat comes close towards the end of its life, but this thing is absolutely seen some use.
Oh yeah, but you mentioned the Texas blues, so yeah, and Stevie Ray. I mean, as you say, Salty, everyone loves Stevie Ray. I was a metal rock fan. I fell in love with Stevie Ray the first time I heard it. It was Cold Shot was the first. I saw the video on MTV, and I heard him before.
Same.
That was the second album, of course, but I saw a Cold Shot.
Same.
Yeah,
That's
and I
Well,
went,
that's not example,
Ooh.
but yeah, metalhead.
I went, what's that? And I was a metalhead. I was into metal and rock and a lot of pop
Right.
stuff too. And of course, the environment at that time was all, it was new wave. There was haircut bands. There was hair metal was starting. It wasn't a blues environment.
No, it was Poison and
Oh.
Cinderella and
Yeah.
that sort of shit tier hard rock, you know, that was out there. And then all of a sudden you hear something like
rock.
Stevie Ray Vaughan with those opening chords, and you're like,
Yeah,
whoa.
I know. And I went, I've got to hear more of this. And I went and bought Couldn't Stand the Weather on cassette. And I went, oh my
Mhm.
God,
Yeah.
where can I hear this guy? Where is he from? I don't know anything about him. No
Unfortunately
pre-internet.
for me, my dad was a huge Stevie Ray Vaughan fan, so I grew up listening to bands like this, Eric Clapton, like, you know, B.B. King, all that kind of stuff. So I grew up with it and really just learned to appreciate blues from start to finish.
Yeah. Are you just admitting I'm your father?
Well, I mean, we've
So
already
the-
kind of established
And of
it.
course, his band, Double Trouble, Chris Layton, the drummer, Tommy Shannon on bass. And, you know, that's why I call it Double Trouble, because they were double trouble. They were literally double trouble. And then later on, Reese Winans, who played on keys. And Stevie always gave him a lot of room for piano and keyboard solos in the songs. You know, there's a lot of, it's like you hear The House is Rocking, huge piano section in the middle. So he liked the fact that he didn't have to carry it all sometimes, you know. But great, tight as hell band, absolutely fabulous. And so so his brother Jimmy, of course, 3 years older than him, Jimmy Vaughan, who founded the Fabulous Thunderbirds and had gone to Austin before Stevie and was making a name for himself there, and kind of was that 3 year step ahead because he got signed, the Thunderbirds got signed and then started to have hits and he started to do stuff. And Stevie saw that example, and it was always a big encouragement to Stevie. He actually played in a band that supported Jimi Hendrix in Fort Worth when he was a teenager.
Wow.
And so he met Hendrix, and he actually gave Hendrix a wah-wah pedal to use on stage because his was broken. So I think in return, Jimmy gave him one of his pedals or something. It was quite neat. So Hendrix, obviously a huge influence on Stevie Ray,
Mm-hmm.
but like somebody, Pope, you mentioned your father. Stevie's and Jimmy's dad had a huge blues record collection. So he had all the Kings, of course, the three Kings, which
Albert,
Freddie, of course, is from
Stevie.
Texas. And I think Freddie is the best example of Texas blues before Stevie. So Freddie King, who was a huge influence, Albert King, B.B. King, Buddy Guy.
I got to see B.B. King twice before he died. And my God, dude, and that's the thing, seeing blues live, and you mentioned a key word in all of this with blues, tight. Like these are guys who would play a small venue and play it like they're playing Giant Stadium. You know, like they took their music seriously. When they stopped and turned, everything stopped, and then they just would launch off again, because that is the kind of how Texas blues to me goes. Unless you're talking about some of the ballads, and Stevie Ray's acoustic stuff is fucking off the charts too. But I don't know. Whenever I think about Stevie Ray Vaughan, I always think about drinking beer, doing shots, chasing chicks around the bar, that kind of music, that like, you know, early 20s troublemaker music.
I have to say, it has a lot of that in it for me, because that was heavy bar hopping, gig going, and just fooling around in living rooms with loud music and leaping about like an idiot, you know, music.
Oh, yeah.
And then pretending and trying to play three chords along with it. But yeah, he had his dad had a huge blues collection, which obviously influenced him heavily, but he was also very into the British blues boom acts, which when he was a kid were still big, like Cream, Eric Clapton, Peter Green's Fleetwood Mac, the original Fleetwood Mac, not the later act, not the Buckingham Nicks
hippies.
Yeah, of hippies, all that bluesy stuff that Britain recycled back. So he was heavily into that too, and I've actually got a little video where he talks about that. So let's just watch where he's showing the difference between the original blues play and how they would play something, and how
No. And I don't know about Mercy Beat blues so much, but like, for instance.
So so he's a bit of a student as well, because he can. He learned to differentiate the styles, and then of course what you do is you put your own style on it. But that those are two sort of big, and he was influenced by rock acts like Hendrix and ZZ Top. Obviously, I mean, you couldn't help but be influenced by those if you're into rock and guitar. But always from a blues perspective, I think. I mean, but then everyone, I mean, straightforward rock fans love Stevie Ray. Courtney, welcome.
Hello. How is everybody? I'm still trying to get my camera connected to the stream, whatever this is. But I wanted to just comment before I try and fiddle with that one of my cool things about Stevie Ray Vaughan is that he was actually, I don't know if this is true or not, but I was told he was discovered by David Bowie.
Well, we're going to talk about that for sure. And there's actually a sequence. There's a sequence of events that led to that. It wasn't just Bowie, but Bowie was part of that sequence. There was Jerry Wexler was involved. Jackson Browne was in there.
I knew about
David Bowie, John Hammond, a bunch of people. But Bowie gave him his first recording break. So in that sense, he was hugely important. Yeah, he's hugely important in that respect. He was going to tour with Bowie in '83 as well, but he decided to not go on that tour and do his own Double Trouble stuff and promote Texas Flood.
I was really looking forward to that tour, but I was 5 and my parents wouldn't let me go.
Oh, bless. Bless.
83, I was 13. Oh my God.
So
I would have been away from home and seen that. I'll tell you what.
I'm going to let you guys continue to talk for a moment while I get my camera.
Okay, we do have a bunch more clips I'm going to show. I've managed to source a few clips we can play. But Stevie picked up the guitar at the age of 7 and played in he got in his first kind of high school bands or whatever at 12. Played a lot of high schools and clubs in Oak Cliff and then the greater Dallas area, but moved to Austin in 1972 because it was a burgeoning music scene there with dozens of clubs, some of which are still around today, not necessarily all of them, but it was a hotbed of blues
Austin
and rock.
City Limits. Austin City Limits TV show for a
and there, of course, they've got the famous statue of him there, which I have seen, of course, which this is a great picture. I'm not sure of the exact era, but it's playing in Lee Park in Dallas. I literally lived round the corner from there, like 50 feet away from that.
Wow.
So I've been there many times. I never saw Stevie Ray there, though. But that was
Lee Park isn't your favorite Korean actor?
It's like Lee Park. He is actually my favorite. Lee Park Byung-hun. But yeah, that was my neighborhood when I lived in Dallas. That was, so it's nice to see that picture. But they did. You mentioned the park, so they opened a park last year in Oak Cliff in Dallas for him with some fantastic murals. We've actually got you can see Jimmy and Stevie there with the twin neck guitar. I have a couple of clips of that to play.
Sweet.
Yes.
Nice.
But this is beautiful stuff that they've done. Obviously, and it's not a salubrious area, Oak Cliff. It's a pretty working class area. A lot of different stuff going on. When his parents' house came up from sale a few years ago, it was only like in the 160K range. You could have,
which that fits in a lot of ways because blues is a very working man's kind of music. Like
absolutely, it was a working man's area. But this is beautiful stuff they've done. Next time I go back to Dallas, I will be going to visit this because it wasn't there last time I was there. So. And Texas Flood, the band, as I say, played there. So Oak Cliff and Bishop Arts District is pretty nice there if you ever get to visit. I took this one. I took this picture last time I was there.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I like this one.
A comic book.
Yeah, the best little car lot in Texas. I like that.
nice.
I just thought I'd throw these in there. They've got nothing to do with Stevie Ray, but
I like it. I like seeing your slides, your vacations.
This one's good.
This is cool.
This is Bishop Arts District. It's a pretty funky area. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Pretty good wall art.
It is, yeah. So anyway, he moved. That's the house that he grew up in. It's probably his car right there on the left. It's got Penny Lane. Someone's put Penny Lane, a sign for Penny Lane up in it. And he did cover Taxman, of course, Beatles song. He covered that. Man of Many Parts. So here he is as a young lad with his first beer, I think.
Hell yeah. That's the right age. That's the right age.
Yeah, isn't the drinking age in Texas like 6?
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
It was only 6 months later he would graduate to whiskey with cocaine in it.
Yeah, I know. And then he had to kick all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then he made some of the best work ever after he kicked it. Another one of him young. He wasn't.
Oh,
He's quite a funny looking guy when you see him. The hat and the beard, the hat and the little beard covered a lot of stuff up, but
it's part of his charm.
Bless. Lovely guy. And then he started to get into his guitar playing. He was in the 70s. Now he was in a band, Paul Ray and the Cobras. You can see the Cobra T-shirt. So he when he got to Austin, he joined a number of bands, and then he joined Paul Ray, who were like fairly big band on the scene. Them and Jimmy Vaughan's Fabulous Thunderbirds. Look at
hey,
this.
Paulie said, "What's up?"
Hey, Paulie. I was going to send Paulie a
Paulie.
link if you wanted to join.
Good to see you, man.
Yeah, he acknowledged that,
Oh, right. Okay, you're catching up all day.
and he appreciates it.
Good. Thanks for being here, Paulie. Good to see you, mate. I know you couldn't stream today. You were at the Oakland A's last night with not Mexican Iron Man, your Muslim uncle. Sorry, your Muslim uncle, and you were at that. I've been to that arena, that stadium. So Austin, of course, we can't talk about Stevie Ray without talking a bit about Austin. I mean, I've been there a few times. I couldn't say I was particularly, I don't know a lot of details about it, but famous club that has moved a few times. But this is when it was on 6th and Brazos in July '75, Antone's, where all these guys played. So Paul Ray and the Cobras, the Thunderbirds, they all played there. They had residencies there. Hugely influential. It moved a few times after that, but synonymous with the Austin music scene. I've actually got a clip of Paul Ray and the Cobras, just audio, but you can hear a bit of early Stevie Ray if you guys are okay with that. If you're not, tough shit. It's my
Down
show.
for whatever, man.
It's my show, man. Tough shit. It's my show. Oops.
ABT.
There we go. If it'll ever play. There we go.
Such a dildo if you were to make it.
Now, I have a bit of caution about this because Denny Freeman was in the band too, and he's a guitarist and keyboard player, but I think it's probably Stevie Ray playing the lead. So pretty standard blues rock.
Yeah. It's not as smooth and it doesn't sound like you go, oh, that's Stevie Ray Vaughan, but you can hear the technical. Like he's 85% there technically. You can tell that he had a little bit farther to go, but that's perfect. That's what you would go see and go have a beer, have some fried shrimp and some fries and watch these cats play.
Yeah,
you know?
And it was a burgeoning scene. And it was probably about 21 there, 21 or so. Learning his chops. So, you know, he didn't just appear on the scene fully formed in 1982. He'd been learning his chops for years, which is the way it used to be done, playing hundreds, if not thousands, of gigs at every venue you could go to. There were some great venues in Austin. I wish I'd seen them all. I wish I'd go back in time. The Armadillo World Headquarters. Famous ZZ Top played there too. But, I want that shirt, yeah. Armadillo World Headquarters. The funny thing is, it's not a flattened armadillo. But, you know. It's a rarity. Texas driving.
I saw a lot of. I only saw dead ones. I never saw a live armadillo the whole time I was there. Seriously,
they're not supposed to be flat.
No, and then there was the Continental Club was another one, which is was a fairly hot scene. But I love this one. The One Night KNITE. This was a place called the One Night, and he played there with Paul Ray and the Cobras a lot. You can imagine just how great that would be to be in this
dude. I would love to go there for the weekend and then wake up 2 years later and go, where the hell am I been?
Now, significantly though, there was another guy who played there a lot with a band called Storm, and it was a musician called Doyle Bramall. You'll know who he is probably, Salty. Doyle Bramall, and his son is now Doyle Bramall II. Is a guitar player, but Doyle Bramall was a drummer, singing drummer and songwriter. Huge mentor to Stevie Ray. Shaped his sound a lot. If you hear Doyle Bramall's albums, you hear a lot of Stevie Ray in them. They even have a similar singing voice. Wonderful guy. Here he is behind the drum kit and singing. I love a singing drummer. I mean, you can't beat a singing drummer. Dude, and he's the guy that wrote.
A lot of skill.
That's right. He's the guy that wrote "Life by the Drop," which is one of my all-time favorite Stevie Ray Vaughan tracks, which is on the Skies Crying posthumous album. "Life by the Drop" is a beautiful track. He wrote it, and I'm going to give him a plug. Check out Doyle Bramall's albums. There's Fitchburg Street is a brilliant album, and this one, Is It News? Absolutely superb stuff.
Okay.
And he was a huge and sadly departed now. Actually, my best friend in Scotland was a big friend of his. Got to meet him in his later years and became big friends. Wonderful artist. Got to give him a plug. Check him out. And Life by the Drop is on the Sky is Crying collection, which was released after Stevie died, with the kind of some tracks that they hadn't got round to putting out yet.
Yeah.
Great artist, Doyle Bramall. So, Paul Ray and the Cobras with Stevie. Is that skinny? Don't you think? Skinny guy. And the others are all looking. There's Jimmy Piccolo on the left. I like this because he's got a kind of a Billy Bob Thornton look going.
Yeah,
It kind of it looks like the Clash went to Opryland. That's kind of what it looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah, Anonymous points out that Doyle Bramall is on the VH1 documentary about Stevie. They were very close. He was like nothing to Stevie always, had a great relationship with his father, but Doyle Bramall was like a musical father figure to him. But yeah, I love this picture. And then so now we get to when things started to happen. He paid his dues 72 through to 82. And then this gentleman entered the scene. David Bowie. And the Let's Dance album. But there was a sequence of events that led to this connection happening. Also, and at the same time, he came into Jackson Browne's orbit. You can see Jackson Brown.
We got to come up with a game for that, like the 6 degrees of David Bowie.
6 degrees of David Bowie. So what happened was, and I do remember reading about this a lot of the time, the 1982 Montreux Jazz Festival happened.
Mm-hmm.
And Jerry Wexler, famous producer, saw Stevie Ray Vaughan Double Trouble playing in Austin and was blown away. And he recommended them to the Montreux Jazz Festival for 1982. Let's hide this for the moment. And it's still one of the greatest stories in rock. So they put him on the acoustic night in the festival.
Why not?
And it was a blues jazz purist crowd. And there's this guy playing an incendiary electric set, including tracks like, Texas Flood and whatever. And he got a ton of boos. There was a lot of booing and catcalling, and you can hear it when you watch the DVD. They're like, no, get off, whatever, or get Swiss or French or whatever, get off. There's a lot of people cheering too, don't get me wrong, but it was weird, and he did say afterwards, it was really weird. Why were they all these boos? Well, it was an acoustic night for one thing. So he was put in completely the wrong night, because there were other rock acts or blues acts played that were like.
Mm-hmm.
However, his management booked him, didn't waste the being there. After he played that gig, they booked him in the bar at the casino, which luckily didn't burn down that night. There was no smoke on the water that night. And they played 2 nights at the casino bar, and that's when David Bowie approached him to say, I really like what you're doing here. Would you like to come and play my next album, which became, of course, Let's Dance. And then on the second night, Jackson Browne and his band got up on stage with him, and they jammed all night, literally all night until dawn.
I heard about
Wow.
So
imagine being there that night. That had to be an incredible experience.
Well,
especially because you had no idea at the time who Stevie Ray Vaughan was.
Well, indeed, and of course, so that's 2 major stars. Not to mention the fact it was Jerry Wexler who'd recommended them. That said, hey, you got to get this. We want to do something with you. So what Jackson Browne did was said, I've got a studio in LA. It's my studio, and it's like a rehearsal studio or whatever. And he said, you guys can use it. Go there. Hang out in LA, record some tracks, no pressure, whatever. Just it's no money, no time involved. Just go there and do that. And they did, and that's the tracks that ended up becoming Texas Flood were recorded mainly at that studio. But in the meantime, of course, he went to work with David Bowie to do Let's Dance, which was recorded in the Power Station in New York City. I think I do have. I thought I had the cover of that again, but I'll go back. Hang on. We've got so many images. Sorry, let me show
Brian,
that.
I sent you a message in private chat a little bit ago, but I do have to drop because of work.
Oh, sorry, mate. Yeah, I couldn't see that.
Pinging me. That's okay. But thank you for letting me be on. If you have not heard Stevie Ray, if you have not heard Stevie Ray Vaughan, please go buy some. If you haven't listened to him in a while, go check him out, especially now in the world that we're living in. The more human sounding music and human feeling stories you can get in your body, you will notice your humanity returning. And Stevie Ray Vaughan is just one of those guys. A lot of soul, a lot of heart, a lot of talent, and put in years of work to make something that I think it's transcendent in the blues realm, but it's also transcendent, like Brian talked about, where you can have a British or Scottish rocker, you can have people who are listening to Van Halen suddenly stop what they're doing and listen to Stevie Ray Vaughan. But everybody, please have a good rest of the day. I'm going to go do that thing over there before I lose my job. So,
okay, mate. Thanks for being here, buddy. Go check out Salty Traveling Seas channel, everybody. He's a good lad, and I've met him in person, and yes, he is indeed 3 feet taller than me.
True.
The pillar of salt.
I carried him around like he was Yoda, and he was giving me advice. So it's true. See everybody later.
See you, buddy. Take care.
Yeah.
I think we must have lost Courtney, didn't we? But,
I shall be back.
So somebody called Darius Ray Dirty Poolhausen has a $2 super chat from Darius. Thanks, buddy. You're on the panel and you're super chatting. Howdy, y'all, to the Texas with us tonight. And indeed, Stevie Ray was very Texan, and it was brilliant. Always loved that about him. So you're going to have to get some kind of recompense for that. What can it be? I think we'll give you this. Anyway, yeah, so Let's Dance, 1982 album. Stevie's on, I think it's about 6 out of the 9 or 8 songs on it. You can clearly hear him on Let's Dance, China Girl, obviously the solo towards the end, and Cat People. He's really heavily on that track, Cat People, which is a great track. And of course, majorly well-known album. Got him a lot of attention. People say, who is that guy? And he was meant to go on the tour, but he declined because he wanted to focus on Texas Flood and touring with his band, his own band, to do that. So, but it got him attention, and it got him the attention of John Hammond in Epic Records, and he signed him. So John Hammond, famous A&R guy. So that gave him that visibility, and they signed him to Epic, and he had already started recording the tracks for Texas Flood with Jackson Brown's studio. So all those years had paid off, and he was about to burst upon the world, which, as we say, wasn't really a world that was necessarily ready for a new blues rock revival. I mean, the only guys I can kind of think of at the time that were doing anything similar might have been like a Robert Cray or some Eric Clapton stuff.
Yeah, a lot of his solo stuff from this period was pretty bluesy, but like you say, like maybe a little of Dire Straits.
Yeah, a little bit of that was on there, and,
Yeah.
and that was using a little bit of those chops. So the environment was one of metal, new wave, haircut
Cock rock.
bands, cock rock.
If it wasn't
culture
NWO,
club,
BHM, or punk, nobody wanted it.
electronic stuff, whatever. And there's this guy relaunching blues rock as a genre. I mean, I guess you still had Gary Moore and guys around, but Rory Gallagher was still around in Ireland. But in terms of the international stage, nobody like Stevie Ray had this kind of impact when Texas Flood was released.
Mm-hmm.
He's
the cycle where
influential.
when something.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Well, when something gets so uncool that it actually it becomes possible for someone to make it cool again. Like New Balance shoes.
True.
Yeah.
It's so unhip that someone like Stevie, the right person, can make it hip again by being the only one doing it.
Yeah.
And doing it well.
Exactly. Well, the thing is, he'd taken all those influences and he'd melded them into something of his own. And his actual guitar style is something that people have talked about an awful lot. And I don't pretend, I mean, Pope, you probably know more than me. I don't pretend to know just what makes it so unique. But there were certain things. First of all, his strings. He used what I think are like 0.13 or 13 gauge, really heavy strings.
Yeah, it sounds it. When you use that heavier gauge string, you get that real resonant, like kind of deep sound to it, and you can really hear on a lot of his albums that very rock sounding tone, and a lot of that comes from his string gauge, which even just from the pictures looks fairly heavy.
It's pretty heavy. And I remember another guitarist reading about him saying, how does he play that? You know, everyone's usually trying to go lighter. He went heavier. And he
also depends on your hands too, because like I know I use heavier gauge strings because I have big fingers, so it helps me on the higher strings. But I know guys who use 2 different gauge strings depending on what they need, and his is very heavy. I'm guessing 11 plus.
It was 13, I think, was the
13
wow.
gauge. Yeah. Okay.
So it's not longer, but it's thicker.
Yeah.
Well, that's
the girthier string.
The girthier string, yeah.
And you feel it.
Yeah,
you feel that girth in the music.
You do, and he also he liked to hit it hard. So he hit like he would play the plectrum down really hard on those certain strings. So it was really pushing the sound very hard out of the guitar.
He really pushed that girth.
He did push that girth,
and a lot of his stuff you can really hear the wah pedal too, which. Again, we can all be thankful to Jimi Hendrix for.
But apparently he liked the minor pentatonic, which he used to summon Satan, I think.
Yeah, that was the thing back in the day. Like you weren't allowed to use certain scales because it was considered demonic, and that's basically blues and rock in a nutshell. It's all minor pentatonic.
Right.
That's right. Yeah. As it says here, he liked to dig in a heavy pick attack on the heavy strings. So bite. That's the word I was searching for. Bite and aggression. So he could do tons. I mean, he was a beautiful player when it came to just playing really quiet blues, and he could do a lot of great acoustic. But that signature sound that we all grew to love was that biting attack, would give the heavy rhythm, which he was also could play the rhythm and the melody at the same time with that aggressive finger picking style as well.
And like the article you just pulled up is saying, he also cranked his amp absolutely past where it should be. So you get that buzz from the tubes, and that you're pushing way more current through them than they actually should have going through them. So it creates that natural warm, almost metal sound distortion. Yeah,
and he could also, but he had the groove as well.
Mm-hmm.
So he was a player that very much created a groove where others, you maybe get a Jimmy Page that's always behind the beat and kind of off doing his own thing. Stevie Ray Vaughan created that groove, whilst at the same time playing lead stuff and creating the groove.
And blues is a very, very feel-based style too. Like a lot of other styles, you can follow a rhythm and stuff like that, and it's pretty much good. Blues, it's all about feeling where you're going with it and just running down the scale and seeing where you go.
Yeah. So this article mentions the track Rude Mood. Or Rude Mood. Let's try saying that in Scottish. Rude Mood. So we're going to play a little clip of him playing that all on his lonesome. Yeah, just love that. And it shows the fluidity as well. I mean, yes, he had attack, but he was fluid. His fingers, he had the magic fingers, the soul assassins had magic fingers. Yep. And it just mesmerizes you.
Fluid too.
He has the fluid. He had a lot of fluid, apparently. Extra girth, yes.
Yeah, his girth puts that fluid in your ear.
Blues rocker is, I wouldn't be surprised if he just made that tune up on the fly.
He did, and a lot of his instrumentals like Scuttlebutting and others were like that. They're just like, okay, let's improvise on a theme. And because he had that incredible speed and skill, he could make something out of that. And he's got a lot of great instrumentals on his albums, as well as the more let's say the tracks, the extended tracks like Voodoo Child or whatever. He had a ton of great little, just cute instrumentals like that.
And a lot of that was probably just him pressing record and then seeing what happens.
Yeah. So I have indeed visited the Stevie Ray Vaughan statue in Austin. Yes, I had to. If you go to Austin, you got to do that. But yeah, he's still a Dallas lad. So yeah, I love that clip. Good one. He's just. I mean, there are people who sound like him now, because they've learned from him. At the time, I don't recall others in the early 80s having that guitar sound. So it was a huge impact when he first came out with Texas Flood, and then he had a look to go with it too, which really suited him and suited that style. In fact, I remember Bill Hicks aped that look.
Yep.
On his entry to some of his gigs, he had the similar look in Shadow before he came out to do his comedy gigs. And of course, he's a Dallas native too, so I think he nicked Stevie Ray Vaughan's look. Anyway, yeah. So the let me just call up another couple of images. So you got the big break with the Montreux, despite the booing and whatever, and you can get that in DVD. That, and he went back in '85 for another huge gig there and got a rapturous reception this time because he was famous, and he was the only first unsigned act to ever play the Montreux Jazz Festival. Yeah, first unsigned act, which was also quite interesting.
It sounds kind of interesting to say that, like, one of the biggest blues artists of all time got his start at a jazz festival.
Because it was jazz and blues.
Yeah, the two kind of go hand in hand in most places.
Yeah. But yeah, the albums. So let's take a little walk through the albums. I've got a couple more clips we'll be able to play later as well. So Texas Flood, album number 1. Released in 1983. I actually didn't become aware of him until after this. It was the second album, Couldn't Stand the Weather, that I first heard. Took a while for it to filter over the Atlantic, as it were. And there's some great stuff on here, though, if you look at the track listing. So it's really right out the gate, Love Struck Baby, Pride and Joy, of course, one of his signature numbers.
Oh, yeah.
With that great loping rhythm, kind of thing, which he was so good at, that kind of loping, shuffling rhythm.
Yep.
Which I don't know how you do on a guitar, but he did it.
It became just like this staple of Texas blues from then on. That slow-paced strumming and just, oh man, it's really just iconic to that style, because most other blues, like, you'll hear it, but it's not like that.
Yeah, and we shouldn't underestimate his voice as well. I mean, he has a fabulous voice. Which is not always the case. I mean, you look at Jeff Beck, he can't sing a note. He couldn't sing a note. Well, he tried once or twice, but he couldn't. It's not often you can get both. I mean, it took Eric Clapton years to become a reasonable singer.
Yeah, and Yngwie Malmsteen still hasn't. He's been trying for a decade.
That's right. So his vocal on Pride and Joy, like, for instance, is just awesome. And then Texas Flood, which continued to be a signature live track for years, with that slow burning blues, which then became, a basis for just incredible soloing. Just fabulous stuff,
Behind his back, even.
Behind his back, yeah. I mean, I may have a clip of that to show at some point with him with the guitar behind the back.
And one thing that he did really well that you can't understate when it comes to, or you can't overstate when it comes to blues music, is that synchronicity between the guitar, the rhythm, and the guitar work and the bass.
Yeah, well, that's why I loved working with those two guys, because they locked in tight.
Oh yeah.
I mean, the drumming is just absolutely. He's so laconic, such a laconic drummer as well. I was like, he's actually doing really good stuff there when you listen closely. I got a couple of clips, and I must give credit to the channel that I got them from. There's a YouTube channel, and let me just call this clip up. I think we'll get a little clip of him playing. So there's a channel called John Klein Productions on YouTube. I'll put the link in the description later. I did reach out to him and ask if I could use these clips, and I do, and do hope that he doesn't mind me using them. So I'm going to show you a little clip of him in 1980 at a thing called the Tornado Jam in Lubbock.
Wow.
Which is a festival apparently they held in Lubbock every year, and maybe still do, for all I know.
Sounds like tempting fate a little bit.
It does.
It's not Lubbock?
Lubac. I've been to Lubbock, actually. That's all I can say. I've been to Lubbock.
It's a place that exists.
So this is a little clip of him in 1980, May 1980. Yeah, I mean, I've got a second clip, and hopefully Mr. John Klein of John Klein Productions on YouTube does not mind me playing that little clip from some of his great material, which he's still uploading. He's got dozens, thousands of gigs that he's recorded over the years on there. He's in New Mexico, I think. Yeah, so I remember Lubbock. Well, nothing really. That's all I remember about Lubbock. It was, yeah. I cannot knock it because Buddy Holly's from Lubbock. So.
Very true.
And Bobby Keys, saxophone player for many bands like the Stones. Great clip, you know, showing his way he could extend notes and really pull them out of the guitar, I think is the way I would put it.
Well, like that entire back section there where he has his back to the audience, he's basically just doing hammer-ons the entire time. He's playing that entire thing with his playing hand. Like like you can see it. His right hand's on the top of that horn on the Stratocaster. And
I think that's how I would say he's bringing a very rock aggressiveness to the blues style. With
that tapping is very Led Zeppelin-esque and stuff like that. Like that was a signature of Jimmy Page.
Yeah. First on Texas Flood, which did pretty well. I mean, it's in terms of chart positions, number 38 on the Billboard chart. Not a bad start in an era where there wasn't a lot of this kind of music around, but he was so different. Immediately, I think you could see how different he was. And this
in any era, blues artist debuting at number 38 is going to be a pretty big deal.
Exactly. And then, I mean, Rude Mood, great track. Mary Had a Little Lamb, which is a great version of the old tale, the old nursery rhyme. Probably better than Paul McCartney's version, but
a little bit, yeah.
And then Dirty Pool, which is obviously Darius's middle name.
Yeah.
Lenny showing his sensitive side. I actually always thought it was a tribute to Lenny Bruce. Turns out it was his girlfriend.
Lenore.
Lenore, yeah.
A lovely lady whom the angels named Lenore.
That's right. But you can actually see this as a landmark album in blues rock because it had been a fairly moribund genre for a while, and his virtuosity was all over it. So brilliant album, great start.
And just for Texas Flood and Pride and Joy, you should own this record.
Yeah, those are two killer standouts. I was watching, obviously all week I've been watching and listening to Stevie Ray, and I can't get enough of it. Texas Flood just sends shivers down your spine.
Hell yeah.
But then came the album that I first got into because, as I say, and I think Darius, you maybe echoed it, I saw Cold Shot on MTV, and I went, when they played music.
That's how you can tell this was a while ago.
That's right. And it was also, I mean, actually, Texas Flood made the UK album chart, as did Couldn't Stand the Weather. So he was making his way over there in terms of the music was traveling. It wasn't just America. He was making it elsewhere. And I immediately was grabbed by Cold Shot, which is a great video if you watch it. It's a funny video. So I went out and bought this on cassette. And this is an outstanding album. And again, they're producing it themselves. Like Texas Flood, the band produced it themselves. You got another one of those quirky, great instrumental Scuttle Button, which is a brilliant little, speedy little track with that super fast soloing on it. Couldn't Stand the Weather is a great track, with more of a stop-start thing going on. So it wasn't all just one note, one speed.
And then the absolutely iconic cover that is Voodoo Child.
Voodoo Child. I listened to that till I wore the tape out, I think.
I mean, I don't care if you're listening to Jimmy's version or Stevie's version. If you don't love this song, there's something wrong with you.
Yeah.
Deep down inside.
Yeah, I mean, and nobody's ever gonna Dirty Pool is the Council of State in Liverpool. You know. No one's ever, and he's not kidding, Sentient Dildo, because I've
Dirty Pudlians.
I've never, no one's going to knock Hendrix, who's the undisputed master. Stevie Ray's version is superb.
It's right up there with the original.
Superb, and the live version's just absolutely, he slays it, and then he does the behind the back thing. And I've got a little clip. I think we can play this because I tested it from behind. I think we can play this. It's from a DVD called Live at Nashville. I did test it out first, so I think we're okay. So this is a little clip of a Voodoo Child. See the laconic drumming, I love it. It looks effortless. I love the boots.
Yeah. Iconic freaking Texas blues. You got the hat, you got the poncho,
and he's got the guitar strap,
skin boots.
The strap.
Yeah.
And here he goes behind the back.
Look at that sweat. He's in the zone.
Oh, God, yeah. This is it. He's in the zone.
And this is what I mean with blues is a very feel-based style where he's just going.
And he's at the metal end of blues, I'd say, but he's...
Yeah, like he doesn't even care where he is in the song at that point. He's just going and doing his thing.
The emotion, yeah. I mean, the feeling. He played with so much feeling and soul. It comes through every time you see something like that. He's playing with soul.
Blues especially is that kind of style. You can't phone it in. Like, you can't fake a blues riff.
Yeah, you can't. It's just incredible. I mean, I fell in love immediately I heard that. I mean, I liked Cold Shot. As soon as I heard that, I was in love. And I knew a lot of guys, we all liked rock and metal. A lot of them were real metalheads. They immediately loved this too. He was a guy that they loved, and they included him in that range of music they would listen to. So he kind of brought the blues to a lot of people through that, I think. But yeah, I could listen to that all day long. And as Darius and I were talking about offline, we could get a real experience listening to that.
Yeah.
Some assistance.
Yeah. In a certain state of mind, a certain equilibrium, if you will.
If you will. Yes.
You know, I remember thinking, like, oh man, what kind of music am I going to want to listen to? I'm going to want to listen to upbeat, fast-paced, techno, or maybe some Yngwie, some shredding. But in actuality, it was Stevie Ray Vaughan, and I put that on. I was like, "Whoa, yes, this."
Yeah, it's the same for me. I can't remember how many times I got into the groove, listening to that groove, Friday, Saturday night in some party.
So Darius, Stevie Ray was the soundtrack to your Vision Quest?
That's right.
No. He was the soundtrack to my ride on the white horse. And you wouldn't expect, I wouldn't have expected, this is 13 years ago, but I wouldn't have expected slow music to be what I would want to listen to.
It's a groove, though. It builds a groove.
It is. It's a mood.
Hypnotic groove.
And the slower songs from him are even better because he just spreads it out and then reaches in, and he pulls that mood out of it.
Yeah, I think the ladies did love him. But that's yeah. The basic rollers didn't quite create the same groove. I never found. It wasn't quite the same, but Shang-a-Lang was pretty good though. Shang-a-Lang, Shang-a-Lang, Shang-a-Lang. So, to ride the white horse. Yeah, we're not. This is the Cotton Council. If you want to ride.
That's not the song you want to listen to.
Or Crazy Horses. Crazy Horses. The Osmonds. See, that's a deep cut. So couldn't stand the weather. Yeah, it's every track is great. There's not a bad track on any of his albums. Not one.
And U2 came in on one of his career high points in Cold Shot.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And Cold Shot it's a beautiful track which shows his sense of his sensibilities. He doesn't go all out on it. It's tasteful, but it still has bite. Which is great. So Couldn't Stand the Weather became another. It was like number 31 in the Billboard charts. Was a hit hit around many countries around the world, and he was starting to tour globally by this time. Also getting a little bit heavily into the substances as well, though.
As all rock stars do.
As all rock stars do, yeah. I mean, he managed to go through 10 years in Austin without suffering from ill effects, but it was starting to tell a little bit by the next album, Soul to Soul. Not a bad album, but maybe a little less focused as a result of off-screen excesses and the efforts of touring, of course, which was I mean, these were hard gigging guys, still playing dozens of gigs, if not more, every year, and in all sorts of conditions. Working musicians. This is probably, of the four albums, is maybe slightly my least favorite of all of them, but it still has the killer Look at Little Sister, which lyrically is interesting. I don't think he's either talking about his own little sister and condemning her, or he's looking at somebody else's little sister.
Right.
I wasn't quite sure.
There was that period.
This is Texas, not Alabama, so I'm going with option two.
Or what, England in the at the end of the 60s, where that was a common phrase, like,
That's
hey, little
right.
sister. And then I
Little
think Billy Idol also borrowed that again.
Yep.
Well, I mean,
Right about this period, too.
Ry Cooder, little sister, don't you kiss me once or twice, etc.
I don't have a little sister, but it still feels a little awkward listening to
I know
to that terminology in those older songs, those classic songs.
Yeah, but it's still a beautiful album. Change It's a great song. He played a lot live. Life Without You, the last track, beautiful ballad. Very emotional, and his vocals are just outstanding in all of this. But I think Look at Little Sister would be the track that I always.
Oh yeah, I mean that's by far the standout on here.
Yeah, and he played that live a lot, and it's really good live. So, but it still continued. Top 30s
for the ladies.
Yeah, in the 30s in the Billboard charts. Didn't do too badly in the UK. But then I think this is probably my favorite of the four albums. I know Couldn't Stand the Weather was the first one I got, but I think this is probably my favorite now. By this time, he'd cleaned up, and he's very open and honest about it, but also very, about what he had to do to get there and asking for help and all that good stuff. Hey, we just mentioned the Cotton Council, and if you want to ride, and who turns up but the great Snowdub? Hey, buddy. Thank you for the $2 super chat. Has anyone seen my sheep? Some puppet stole them. Well, I think this puppet here, if I can get him, this puppet here, whose name is Finger Me, may know about where that one is. Thanks for that, buddy. That means I got to play you a clip, and I don't have any of your wonderful clips, but I'll give you this. some highlights from my career.
I don't think we've recovered from the last time you played that one.
So, In Step, though, what a magnificent album. First of all, the Willie the Wimp, of course, great track. It's Willie the Pimp is Frank Zappa. Willie the Wimp, Pipeline. What a record, Pipeline. What a track.
And a lot of live stuff, too, where he just absolutely went off.
Hang on. That may be the wrong cover.
Is the pipeline a metaphor?
The pipeline is a metaphor. You delay the pipeline. Sorry, In Step. Here we go. Yeah, that's probably the wrong. I think that's the wrong back cover. My apologies. My God, I got one wrong.
He's not showing his face. I mean, there's something. There's a message in that.
There is. He's showing the hat.
Mm-hmm.
So the actual track listing, which I immediately realized when I looked at it, that's not the track listing. Kicks off with The House Is Rockin'. Yeah. I mean, still, the song they play at the end of a winning Dallas Stars game, so I've heard it millions of times.
Or at least once or twice.
The House Is Rockin'. Just one of the most hard rockin' tracks you'll ever hear in any genre.
I mean, it's something you might hear out of like George Thorogood or something like that. Like it's way harder than Stevie usually goes.
It is, yeah. And
then it has that like 50s rock and roll vibe to it too.
It does, yeah. It's with the boogie woogie piano solo in the middle. Yeah, it's got that. It's very, there's a lot of Jerry Lee Lewis in it, I think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But I mean,
Boogie what now?
Boogie what? Boogie who?
It's better when you say it.
Boogie woogie. Boogie woogie. The Scottish accent murders rock music.
It makes it so much better.
It does. But I mean, it's not enough that it kicks off with The House Is Rockin' and then it goes straight into Crossfire.
Oh God, yeah. I think probably my favorite Stevie Ray Vaughan song of all time. Right. Just the swagger and the guitar work there is just
and then Tightrope, which is another brilliant track. I mean, it's just killer track after killer track. I don't know. I mean, what could I say? It's probably my favorite. He was.
Yeah, if you're gonna own a Stevie Ray Vaughan album, this is the one.
I would go for this. Yeah. In fact, we had a poll going. I think we'll end the poll now and see what the. I'm trying to end the poll. Oh, there we go.
I think I voted in that.
Well, I'm going to end it now, although it's not responding to my clicks. As usual, everything's getting bollocksed up. Oh, there we go. The poll is now ended.
Oh, yeah.
And where
I
it's
voted
going.
for Texas Flood.
Okay, so it's hopefully that's showing up in the poll. I'm looking at the chat. Is that showing up?
Nope. No. On our end anyway.
There was only 21 votes, but what the hell?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I see it.
Hang on, I'll post it again just in case. So the winner of the poll for the my wonderful chat, and I thank you all for being here. Texas Flood, the debut album, got 61% of the votes.
Can't argue with that.
I can't argue with that. Instead, is a classic. They're all classics, but that is a particular classic. Outstanding debut album. In Step was second with 19%, and then Couldn't Stand the Weather and Soul to Soul tied at 9% each. Fair enough, yeah. I mean, as I say, I would probably vote In Step, but that's I cannot argue with that. And so thank you for voting.
Refined taste.
That's right. Thank you for voting in that poll, everybody. Look at the efforts I go to engage the chat.
And produce. They'll just come back.
They'll just keep coming back, yeah. So, In Step, phenomenal album. And he was clean and sober by this time, and he'd entered a new phase of really... I mean, the concerts were great. The tours were great. He was collaborating with other artists on tour, like Jeff Beck, ultimately Eric Clapton, which unfortunately led to the helicopter accident. Not that I'm blaming Eric Clapton.
Who was supposed to be on the same helicopter, and thank God he wasn't. Imagine losing both of them in one day.
Oh, I know. Jeez.
The day the music died.
Well, there is a story behind the helicopter crash, which we'll touch on later, but I want to keep to the positive stuff for now. But yeah, imagine what would have happened then. I think, is Salty super chatting me again, or is that a different one? I'm pretty sure Salty's super sticker to me.
Oh, yes.
He super stuck you.
He super stuck me. I'm going to stick you. I cannot see that. It's in there somewhere.
As far as the trend of these musicians getting sober, how often do you feel they get better?
I think in Stevie's case, because he'd never really shown a lot of degradation in the first place, he certainly didn't get worse. I actually think his renewed focus on the music was a positive thing, and it resulted in Step, and then it resulted in some fantastic live appearances, many of which are on DVD. And I think it gave him a renewed energy. I actually think it was a good thing for him.
Mm-hmm.
Which is kind of rare, because usually when a band gets clean and sober, the music starts to suck.
Sometimes that happens. In his case, it didn't happen. I don't think he missed a beat, pun intended. He actually, and I think it would have resulted in further fantastic recordings and collaborations.
Oh, absolutely.
If he had lived, his focus was back, and he was really focusing hard on his career in the music. But live, he still played like a man possessed with the soul and the emotion. It actually cleared him up to focus on that.
Yeah, and
more.
just like his mentor or idol Jimi Hendrix, he just kept getting better and better as he went along.
Yeah. It was a shocking event, but just to close this off, and thank you, Salty, for the 99-cent super sticker of a yellow dog, which was actually the name of a band in the late 70s, Yellow Dog.
I bet you he knows that.
I bet he knows. I have a picture disc single of theirs. So, oops, let me cancel that. I have to show a little clip for that then. This one then. This one's the appropriate one.
Get up and go. Get up and go. Get up and go back home.
The Prefab Four at their finest. So Rob sent a super chat, but it's not showing. Thanks for that, buddy. I don't see it here either. I don't know if Darius, if you've seen it in passing.
Which one?
Rob Altis sent a super chat. I don't see it here. Rob, my deepest apologies, and welcome to others like Rob that have joined the chat. Captain Have Fun is here. We got a good crowd, about 20 people plus, still with us for this tribute to Stevie Ray Vaughan. I don't see it, Rob. My deepest apologies. Cam is here. Good to see you, Cam. If
let me check in here.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
Because it's a longer record in here than on.
Yeah, I'm looking in both
app.
the studio and I'm looking in the.
You say it was through YouTube or through?
Was it a YouTube
donation link,
or was it a donation link? Hang on, Rob. Just checking the donation. No, I think it was a super chat Rob's talking about. I will keep looking for it, Rob, but I deeply appreciate it. Thank you, buddy. If it turns up, I will let you know. Certainly haven't seen it passing through here yet. And I guess it was for $10,000, something like that. So,
let's see. You got Joe's at the beginning, Christian.
Yeah. If you keep looking for that, mate, we'll. So that was the last Instep, the last album Stevie Ray Vaughan and Double Trouble released in his lifetime. However, 3 months after his passing, a planned album was released with his brother Jimmy, Family Style. It's a beautiful album. And they were very close. I mean, you only hear tales of warring brothers in rock, but I don't think there was any particular issues with these guys. Jimmy misses him dearly. He inducted him into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. They made this great album, Family Style. And really, their differing styles were great on this, because Jimmy's got that much cooler style, more calm and cool. And Stevie's got this kind of the more rougher rhythmic style. And I think they fitted together well. And a lot of great vocals from both of them. Beautiful album, very fitting tribute to the pair of them. As a set of brothers, and it's so great that they got to do this before Stevie's crash. There's some nice stuff on here. I mean, lyrically, it's fantastic. I love Hillbillies from Outer Space, which is and produced by Nile Rodgers, which is great because Nile produced Let's Dance. Nile Rodgers produced Let's Dance. And there's actually a documentary which I do not have a copy of because it's not been released in Canada. Not legally anyway, called Brothers in Style, I think it's called. Brothers in Blues. And it's a new documentary made by Jimmy about Stevie, and it features Nile Rodgers and others talking about them. And it's got a lot of great photographs and video clips of the two of them together. So I'm looking forward to being able to purchase a copy of that when it gets released in Canada. I believe it's on Amazon Prime in the US. Isn't up here, so for whatever reason, I'm looking forward to seeing that. But as I said, I've seen Jimmy a number of times, and he's always good. He's great, and he does miss his brother very badly, I believe. But another album that was released a few months later than that was basically some tracks that Stevie Ray Vaughan and Double Trouble had recorded before his passing. Sky's Crying, and as I said, the track on this. Track 10, Life by the Drop. If you've never heard this track, it's very semi-acoustic by Stevie. It's got a beautiful vocal, and it's a great philosophical song about life, written by Doyle Bramall, his mentor. It also features a great cover of Little Wing. Sky's Little Wing is great, beautifully done.
Hendrix.
Sky's Crying is a great track. Great album. It's not by Chitlins Concarney, I know. It's because there's that Hispanic influence in Oak Cliff and in Texas. So, Rise of the Texas Bluesman is also a great documentary. Soul Assassins. So check out this album. It's by no means here's some leftovers we didn't use. Every track is great, and it would have been the basis for a future album going forward. So well worth it. And some of those great tracks that we love. I mean, Crossfire, I think, Pope, you said that was your touchstone track.
Like, you can't go wrong with this song. It just has that slow rhythm with that just swaggering guitar riff over it. Just perfect blues. Yeah.
Love Struck Baby, obviously, one of the key tracks. These are all little images of now, Pipeline is a track I absolutely adore. And as well as it being on Soul to Soul, was it? It was on
Dick Dale.
Dick Dale. If you ever see the movie Back to the Beach, it features a fantastic performance of Pipeline. I was stunned when I saw Back to the Beach on VHS years after it came out. It was 83 or something it came out. I said, that's Stevie Ray Vaughan. What's he doing in Back to the Beach?
And if you guys don't know who Dick Dale is, I actually think we talked about him when we were talking about the rise of surf rock in California in the 60s.
We did.
I love Dick Dale.
He's a brilliant guitar player, and everybody should check him out as well. If you're into that kind of scene, absolutely check him out.
Go watch the music video for this on YouTube. Dick Dale and Stevie Ray Vaughan Pipeline. It's got images from the film as well. It's brilliant. It just rocks. And I remember going to see this cover band, Texas Flood, in a small bar with about 12 people. And they were asking what people wanted to play. I shouted Pipeline, and the guitarist was like, I don't know if I want to play it. And the drummer just lodged into it. So he was forced to do it. And he slayed it. Tommy Katana absolutely slayed it.
I always love those moments too, when one of the band members is like, oh, do we really want to? And the rest of them are just going with it.
Yeah, and so the drummer went, and he had to play it. And we're all up dancing and whatever. He said afterwards, even though there was only like 12 of us in the bar, he said it was one of the best gigs they'd ever done because we were all like super excited.
Hell yeah.
Thanks for joining us again, Courtney. We can hear you.
Oh my gosh, I thought my camera was working. I'm working on it, but I just heard everything that I love at this moment when I was signing on.
Well, Pipeline is such a great track.
Back to the Beach. Yeah.
That's a great movie. We're going to do a live stream on Back to the Beach soon on this channel. It's good.
Yes.
Oh,
love that film.
Gee, that's my favorite.
Is it good enough? That's what I have to say. So this album in the beginning, there's a ton of Stevie Ray Vaughan live albums recorded. This is actually an early one of him back in 1980 in Austin. It's worth checking out because you can hear it's got a lot of the tracks that ended up on Texas Flood and some great covers. So Taxman, later collections of Stevie Ray Vaughan tracks led off with this cover of the Beatles' Taxman, which is probably one of the more straightforward rock numbers that he did. And I love it. It's a great, again, check it out if you've never heard it. It's an absolutely brilliant version.
Yeah, I'm going to do that.
It's poundingly loud and hard. It's great.
That's just a dildo. I think that's a
girthy
reference.
It's a girthy track. And I do love this. This is the back of a promo CD for The House is Rockin'. I just think it's neat, the little house. And I do love that track. I mean, if I feel like getting the juices flowing for partying a bit, just put The House is Rockin' on and turn it up very, very loud.
and then they won't come knocking.
Yep. And it was co-written by Doyle Bramall. See, I keep mentioning Doyle Bramall. Voodoo Child, great cover of Voodoo Child.
That's a hell of a EP right there. Voodoo Child couldn't stand the weather and cold shot.
Maxi single, somewhere between a single and an EP. So that's just a few of I like to show those images because cover art is brilliant, and I think I may have one more video clip to play before we talk about his unfortunate passing. Let me see. Just give me a second here. Oh, right. So we're talking about Stevie and Jimmy, and there's a couple of really great tracks. In fact, here's Pipeline. This is a brilliant track of them playing together, literally playing it together on one guitar. Him and his brother. So let's take a look at this.
Definitely hear Dick Dale's influence there with that tremolo picking.
Absolutely.
What I would give to go back in time and be at that venue for that.
Oh,
gig.
hell yes.
There's that was the second track they did like that, because it starts off with Stevie playing it. In fact, I'll show that too. If you guys don't mind. This is how it starts. love how they switch necks. I love how they switch necks so they can both play a different lead. Right. It's just so good. Jimmy, the great Jimmy and Stevie Ray Vaughan together. Darius, thanks, buddy. $2 super chat from panel member and internet brother of mine, Darius Munchausen. Darius Dirty Poolhausen. He's the boogie woogie bugle boy of Company B.
Yeah. Worth it. I wanted to hear you say it.
He's the boogie woogie. He's the boogie woogie. He's the boogie woogie bugle boy of Company B.
Yeah.
It's the Jason Statham version.
What's that Gaelic monster? The Pukwudgie?
I don't even know.
But yeah,
the what wudgie?
It's like a Pukwudgie.
Yeah, that's probably Irish. I don't know. I'll figure it out for next time, though. So you've got to get a clip for that. Yeah, and so somebody wants me to say Begla. I'll say it as again. I'm going to do Jason. I'm going to be Jason Statham till the end of the show. Begla.
Oh, I was wrong. It's from Delaware. The Wampanoag.
Yeah, Delaware, Scotland. They're very close.
Yeah. They're the enemies of Randy Squannet. Never heard of her.
So both kind of backwaters that no one knows where they are on a map. So,
right, like Pennsylvania.
Someone's equally saying Nukulevi.
Yeah, I just noticed. I don't know if you already know this, Brian, but Streamlabs is translating things from the YouTube chat, and so when Sentient Dildo was referencing the say es un pipe. It translated it into English. I was like, wait, why aren't they the same? I just saw something change now. I'm not sure what it was, but it makes an attempt to auto-correct the language.
Oh, right. Are you
for you?
If you've got the closed captions on.
No, just in the chat on the side of the screen here.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, to try to throw you a bone.
No one's going to translate for me. It'll just still come out like "Giza break of dauber, malky, smite shite."
Well, I always end up with the whole interface in German again.
So, some great stuff going on in the chat. By the way, I'm sorry I can't highlight them all, but you're all on fire today. Literally, I hope not. I hope they're not. Courtney, my dear, you're looking radiant, if I may say.
I am. That's amazing. Probably because I've been running, literally running.
So we've done a lot of talking about Stevie. I mean, what's your thoughts?
Well, I was actually introduced to Stevie Ray Vaughan because my best friend / turned boyfriend in high school knew how to play he learned how to play every single one of his solos and Jimi Hendrix solos on guitar. So it's like all I heard. And I actually at the time really was not a fan because I was, punk rocker and I used to be like, stop playing these solos. But once I went to Courtney's floor, Illuminati confirmed. Sorry,
yeah, we've definitive proof. We've definitive proof you're in the Illuminati. So can we get an Illuminati adjacent card that we can use for stuff?
I don't know.
There must be a card.
When I went to Berkeley, I got an appreciation for him. And Texas Flood, that
was the debut album.
Yeah, that's the album that we had studied it in one of our classes and stuff like that.
Wow, studied it indeed.
The blues.
Well, it did launch a blues rock revival, which has led to. I mean, there's a bunch of acts. We talked about Kenny Wayne Shepherd, John Mayer. I know, but he still has an influence. There is an influence there.
I went to school with him. He was in one of my classes, John Mayer.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a big fan, but yeah, Gary Clark Jr.
Yep.
I think Gary Clark. There's a bunch of guys have come out, but Kenny Wayne Shepherd would be one I would always turn to as being a direct lineage from Stevie Ray's sound. But there's a whole lot of others, and he inspired guys that were already going to update the sound. Eric Clapton got a little bit harder after he had been very laid back for many years. He kind of hardened his sound up a bit. Buddy Guy, who is a big influence on Stevie. I've seen Buddy Guy live a few times, and he does a bit where he does Stevie Ray Vaughan in the middle. He'll play a couple of tracks as if he's Stevie Ray Vaughan. He plays him exactly like that. It's deliberate. Like, she says, look what I can do.
Funny, the same person took me to see Buddy Guy in high school.
Yeah. That bloody guy. Always know how to make Darius laugh, which is good.
It's so corny, but it's funny. Can't help it.
Did you say my name?
No, it's so corny. It's so
corny. No, but in the chat I did. I said Courtney is a punk rocker. Courtney is
a
punk rocker.
Dildo from the show on Saturday. He asked about the show.
So there's a bunch of great performances. Luckily, there's tons of great stuff for Stevie live. This was at 1993 at the El Mocambo. I think it was 93. It's in Toronto. Brilliant gig, and they turned that into a DVD. Live at Carnegie. Carnegie Hall was a special gig that he did as well. It became one of the sort of landmark ones that they turned into a DVD, not a DVD, an audio recording of that. Which
that
was
would be a
I think.
odd place to see him.
Say that again.
That would be an odd place to see him.
It would be, but he seemingly went down very well, and they didn't. I don't think there's video footage.
And I've watched shows there, and that upper balcony part is like terrifying. It's like this steep when you sit up top.
Yeah.
But
so that was
so odd, but that would be cool.
But yeah, I think it was a fairly important gig in his oeuvre, if you know what I mean. His oeuvre.
His oeuvre.
And then, of course, a bunch of stuff from Austin, particularly because he did Austin City Limits a few times. I think the 1989 one is where you'll get a brilliant Voodoo Child from that performance from that. Very difficult to clip them because those get copyright struck straight away.
Oh, the chat was correcting you earlier. It's Voodoo Chile.
Chile. It's Chile, you see. This is from that Austin City.
I heard that.
I don't know if that's true, but they were saying it.
Voodoo Chile. I do love
Brian, it's Voodoo Chile.
I do
My
love
sister is in Chile, so I was taught how to say it.
I do love this particular image, which is from Austin City Limits. I think it's absolutely brilliant with that #1 guitar there. And score. Black and white always looks great for these, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So collaborations he did. We saw Dick Dale. He collaborated with him. He also obviously they did these gigs with. Unfortunately, the last gigs he did were with Eric Clapton at the Alpine Valley Music Theater, which is somewhere in, I think, is it Wisconsin? I think.
Oh, that sounds like.
Yeah, because that's where the helicopter. So you can see Robert Craze on that in the Memphis Horns. So it's quite a good bill. This is from one of those gigs, maybe even the last one. Jimmy was there too, of course. So yeah, and then Jeff Beck was another one that he toured with. Jeff Beck, who was really just kind of getting back into his rock stuff after years of jazz fusion. They toured and did some gigs together, and I might even have a video clip. I hope. Maybe I don't. Oh, I know it got copyright blocked. Couldn't do it. So there was a little clip of in the opening montage of them doing the old Freddie King song "I'm Down." Powerful stuff. Go check that out on YouTube. And you'll see just how good they were together. And Stevie was tearing it up on that. There he is with Jimmy and Eric. Eric in his Shaggy Dog era. a few days before the unfortunate helicopter crash. Oh, this is, by the way, this is the band Texas Flood. That's the gig I was talking about, where they played Pipeline and everybody got up and boogied.
Anytime anyone plays Pipeline, I feel like you have to
dance, even if you can't dance like me. So this is Tommy Katana, who's a mean guitar player in his own right. He's got the look. He's even got the guitar.
Yeah, the hats are very stylish.
Yeah. Texas Flood, great little band. So yeah, I don't know. It's a shame I couldn't play the Jeff Beck stuff. Unfortunately, I tried chopping it up in various ways, but it's just got copyright blocking. I do have one more clip though, and so one of the tracks that Stevie Ray covered was by a guy who he really liked a lot, was Stevie Wonder. And he did a cover of Superstition, which we can't play the video of, but I can play him playing it on his own. So let's have him see how he took the rhythm of that. Right.
Oh, that is cool.
I got that one last little clip in there, just. But how cool is that? I mean, to create that beautiful rhythm from a song which was pretty rhythmic to start with. But.
Yeah, and a song that fits Stevie's vocal performance pretty well.
It did, didn't it? Yeah, it's got that beautiful kind of semi-baritone. It's like a baritone.
It's got that like that soulful style that Stevie Ray Vaughan was famous for, and Stevie Wonder for that matter.
Yeah. So that was and I think Stevie Wonder was there at the recording of the music video they did for it and everything. It's on YouTube. So, yeah, just checked, by the way, it was 13 gauge strings he played with.
Damn, that is big. I play with 11. So,
yeah. And in the opening montage, there's the clip of him at Austin City Limits where he breaks a string and he changes guitars. He's really and he just carries on without missing a beat. It's really neat. The one other thing they achieved was they used to have the awards called the W.C. Handy Awards. They now renamed them the Blues Entertainer Awards.
Is that for who gives the best handy in the WC?
You don't know your blues history, do you? You don't know who W.C. Handy was.
No, but I know what a WC is.
That's right. It's the glory hole days.
Are they called the Handy Randies?
Stevie Ray Vaughan was the first non-black artist to win Blues Entertainer of the Year in 1984.
Wow.
So well played, Stevie.
Well, if you did that the other way around, we had to guess. I wonder which of us would have guessed that.
Well, there you go. Pretty sure
I'd have to think about it. Courtney would probably know. I'd have to think about it for a minute.
So,
I'm saying you might have actually guessed that. I'd probably have to think about it, and then I'd slap my forehead if I didn't. That he was the first. That he was the first. Would you say the first non-black musician?
First non-black to win Blues Entertainer of the Year, which used to be the W.C. Handy Awards.
Okay.
No, the WC, I was saying WC. That's like a bathroom.
WC.
Water closet.
Well, W.C. Handy was big in blues history. I don't know if we go into it now, but if you look him up, he was a blues cataloger, if you want to call him that. But anyway.
Yeah, see, when you're a blues legend, your first name is just 2 letters.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yes.
Yeah.
BB. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like ZZ, for instance. Yeah, ZZ.
Yeah, which was named after B.B. King.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Anyway, so unfortunately, those Eric Clapton gigs in August 1990, and they had intended to do more, unfortunately resulted in a helicopter ride, which Stevie took the last seat on. And there was a couple of there were 5 deaths, including the pilot. Jimmy was meant to be on the helicopter, but Stevie took the last seat because he said he had to get back to Chicago in a hurry. He says, no, really, the last words he said to Jimmy were, Jimmy said, oh, I'm just going to you're going to leave me here. And he says, yeah, I got it. I really have to get back to Chicago tonight. I have to get back. And that was it. Off the helicopter went and then crashed in low visibility. It didn't get the height to get over a mountain or something. And anyway, there was a lot of legal stuff, whatever. And unfortunately resulted in the deaths of 5 people, including Stevie Ray, who, and it could have been. I mean, imagine if Eric and Jimmy had got on too, but it was still a hell of a shock because his career was on fire. I mean, there was no slowdown in his progress. The only way was up, and it's incredible to think about what he could have done. But I'm grateful for what we got. And,
no, absolutely.
Grateful for what we got. And musicians should never go near planes or helicopters.
No, absolutely not. They need to go everywhere on a bus, and that's it. Oh, wait. Cliff Burton's a thing. They should never travel.
Never travel. They should never travel or stay in a house that might, like Steve Marriott, that might go on fire.
Yeah.
So a lot of people talk about and discuss about the place of artists in the hierarchy, as it were. Who is the greatest guitarist of all time would be one of those discussions. And where does Stevie Ray Vaughan sit in that? Now, much as I despise Rolling Stone these days, this was a top 100 guitarists article they did. And just thought we'd take a quick flip through it, see what you guys think, and where Stevie Ray's position in it might be. So obviously, and I think generally speaking, it would always be the case, non-controversially, Jimi Hendrix tops their list.
I wouldn't be on the top of my list, but I don't think you can have a top guitarist list without putting most of these guys on there.
Yeah, and so I'm going to do it in that order, though. So Jimi Hendrix is always going to be there or thereabouts. Number 2, they've got Eric Clapton.
Okay. Not one I'd argue with, but again, not where I
Number
put.
3, they've got Jimmy Page. And this is, they've got, there's other sites they've got lists of top blues guitarists, top rock guitarists, whatever. This is all of them in one. Number 4, they've got Keith Richards.
I don't know if I'd put him in the top 10.
I would.
Yeah,
I can see it. But...
Number 5, they've got Jeff Beck, who I would have put above both Clapton and Keith, but that's
oh god, yeah.
He would be my number 1.
Oh yeah.
Yes, I would have put him least as high as number 2. Yeah. Number 6, B.B. King, one of the kings, one of the 3 kings.
Oh, well, yeah.
I think you got to have a ton of blues guys on this list because I mean, that's just blues in general.
Chuck Berry. Now, I know they're taking into account influence as well as skill. So, I mean, influence and I mean, there's nobody like Chuck Berry at the time.
I mean, if you count influence, Chuck Berry should be number 1.
Well, indeed.
From the chat, B.B. King should be higher.
Well, I mean, to be fair, though, Michael J. Fox did teach him how to play that.
That is very true.
Yeah, he did.
Whatever.
He's an amazing guitarist.
Number 8, Eddie Van Halen.
He'd be like my number 2 or 3.
Still no Stevie, though.
I just don't like him.
No. Number 9, Duane Allman, which I can't argue with. I mean, he should be in the top 10. Duane Allman. If you ever hear his Wilson Pickett, Hey Jude, Duane Allman solo in that, or Loan Me a Dime by Boss Skaggs, you'll know how good Duane Allman was. Number 10, Pete Townsend.
I'll go with that a little bit. Yeah.
11, George Harrison.
Yeah, again, I can see that.
Yeah. 12, Stevie Ray Vaughan. So Stevie Ray makes it at number 12 on their list.
I don't know how you have a conversation on top guitarists and Stevie Ray Vaughan's not in the top 10.
I would have said he should be in the top 10. But maybe I'm showing a bit of recency bias, and by recency, I mean the last 40 years, because I might have been tempted to slip him above maybe a Chuck Berry, even though Chuck Berry is hugely influential. So, but according to Jay Mascis, he shouldn't be in the top 1,000. So, you do think Stevie Ray Vaughan's not very good. So that was the top 12. 13 was Albert King. We've got 2 of the Kings. Interestingly enough, David Gilmour.
Okay,
you were talking.
I was going to say, Jay Mascis. Why are you talking crap about one of my?
He doesn't rate
Heroes.
Stevie Ray. He doesn't rate Stevie Ray.
before the show, I was I was prepping by watching some Stevie Ray stuff, and there was a clip of him with Albert King playing, who was one of his heroes playing on stage together. So that was that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, he was a huge fan of and very influenced by the Three Kings and Albert Collins as well. Those guys were really huge.
Kings.
The Three Kings: Freddie, Albert, and BB.
Right. Yep. Yeah, no, that's a good name for him.
Yeah, and Freddie King's real name wasn't Freddie King, by the way. It was Freddie Nelson, I think, but he changed it to King because to honor BB King. So
he's only a half Nelson.
He's only a half Nelson, which is the name of which is what the band Sparks were called before they were called Sparks. Derek Trucks at 16, Neil Young at 17. I'm just doing the top 20. Les Paul, we talked about that is.
I'm kind of floored he's not in the top 10 either. Jesus.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of all these ones as they're scrolling down. It's
Now, here's one I wouldn't have thought of, but I don't disagree with it. James Burton, who's been on thousands of country rock stuff, including working for Elvis. And
not enough about him.
He's a pretty mean Nashville cat. Nashville Cats. It's a great song. And 20 Carlos Santana. So that was the top 20. Stevie Ray in their list is at number 12. I've seen him higher. I've seen lists he's not on at all. So anyway. So you can never do justice to a guy like that in one show, but I think we've done a damn fine job. I miss Stevie Ray Vaughan dearly. I mean, I would love it if he was still around at age 69, playing great music, producing other acts, writing songs.
69.
Nice. Everybody needs more blues in their life.
They do. And he launched a revival of the blues in an era that was not conducive to it. Those damn punks.
Which should show you just how talented and prolific the guy was, is he made blues popular again in an era that was antithetical to it.
Yeah. He did. He made it popular again. And I think it was sheer force of skill, but he had more than just the skill. He was a personality. He had a look. He was an icon, and he had that, like all great artists, he synthesized what came before, but did his own thing with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and I think for that he will be remembered for a long, long time, long after we're gone. I think so. That's probably the ultimate tribute that history can pay him. And his music sounds.
Not on that list?
He wasn't on that list. No, I've seen other lists. He's been at number one, but not on that list. Rolling Stone, they don't like Queen, so
I don't know.
They don't. They don't like Queen. Robert Fripp was probably there was a top 100. It's in Rolling Stone. I don't want to put Traffic their way, but I don't like them.
Traffic. I see what you did.
Traffic.
Hey,
Steve Winwood and Dave Mason.
Right. Now, Brian, I don't know if you saw the private chat just a little bit ago, but it is related to our topic right now, actually. So they came back. They've come back together again.
So did you find Rob's super chat?
I did not find it, but I asked him what it said, and that was his next comment. So I'm assuming that was what the super chat was.
Okay, well,
now that we're actually talking about top lists, he did just say in the chat that Stevie Ray's in his top 5.
I would have had him in my top 5. That's just me personally, and it's nothing to do with.
Also.
Yeah,
him and Mark Knopfler would be in my top 10 at the very least, probably breaking into the top 5.
Yeah. So this was what Rob said. SRV is one of my top 5 favorites. Thanks for doing this. No, thank you, Rob, for your super chat, and thank you for being here and taking part in the chat. Thank you all for doing that. You've made this a great show when it started off pretty badly because I had to reset the stream up at the last minute. Yeah, so you've made it once again. I mean, you guys are the greatest. You're here every week. I really appreciate it in the chat. You're so good to me. You made a happy man very old. That didn't come out right, did it? It didn't come out right, did it? So we are going to wrap it up now because I'm hungry. I'm hungry. We can't do justice to Stevie Ray in one show, but we did our damnedest. The house was rocking, and we did it with pride and joy. And Courtney was caught in the crossfire.
Even though Streamlabs is playing Dirty Pool.
It is playing Dirty Pool. And I mean, I was in a rude mood when it started.
Oh, Streamlabs. I thought you were going to say you didn't like Dirty Pool. I was going to be shocked and offended.
So Sentient Dildo is saying, what are we, your
I
wife?
bet you do.
Well, you can't be my wife because she doesn't listen to the show really. So actually, she does sometimes. She may be listening now. I don't know. My apologies, my dear. If you, Mrs. Rock fan, my apologies.
Well, shout out to her. And you don't want to marry a fan because they're crazy.
And she's a big Stevie Ray Vaughan fan, though. So,
I mean, a fan of yourself,
She's not a fan of me, no.
Wives usually, after a while, we're not fans.
Doesn't mean she doesn't like me. She's just not a fan. Right. Courtney, thank you for making it in here. I do appreciate it. I know you had some difficulty.
It's really hard to get here before.
Are you have you got anything you wish to plug?
My channel, of course.
You're
And
looking
my
good.
Illuminati floor, I guess, or I don't know what that means, but my room's a mess. Wow. Yeah, my channel, which is it's Courtney's Fellowship of Oddballs. I'm going to be streaming a little bit more. Actually, sooner than later. I have a couple ideas coming up. Some are music related too. Nothing like what goes on here because I'll be here Mondays no matter what. Yeah. So that and hi.
Hey, well, thank you again for being here. Check Courtney's channel out, everybody, and watch out for all the other great streams she's on. Get on her Twitter.
No, it sounded. I don't think that's what he actually said. It sounded like you said, "Thank you for being a chick."
Thank you for bringing some estrogen to the show.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
I heard that too, and I'm like, wait, no. Check out
Courtney's
channel.
They were awesome.
Courtney,
every show is better with Courtney.
Agent, when you're on that floor behind you, do you have to wait for the bishop to move, or I mean, would you get castled?
Oh, your mirror flipped, Courtney.
Your mirror's flipped. Could you show that backwards? Turn it around the other way.
How do I unflip it? Wait, where do
that little arrow under your camera at the bottom.
While you're doing that,
you can flip it back.
Pope, my friend, thank you for being here and
there you go.
For your insights. And would you like to plug something?
Well, I mean, yesterday's episode over on my channel was on the black metal monstrosity that is Marduk. So if you guys are into that scene, definitely go check that out.
Marmaduke.
Me and a regular guest Imperatus had quite a good conversation on some of their best stuff. And I think this Thursday, related to that, I'm going to bring back the History of Rock and Roll series because we got to about 1970. And I'm just not happy with that. So we're going to talk about the rise of heavy metal in the 70s. So hopefully you guys will join me for that. And then I think the next one up on Rock and Roll Religion is going to be Testament. So that should be a fun time.
That'll be a good one. That'll be good, mate. Look forward to that one. Hopefully I can make that one. So at Dirtiest Poolhausen,
I went to a metal show.
Apart from laughing at my stupid accent, what else can you contribute?
I went to a metal show and Marduk destroyed Tiamat. That's a Babylonian mythology joke. Anyway,
I think I'm the only one who get that.
I thought you were going to tell us about a metal show. I was like, which one? Come on.
No, those are both metal bands.
That's the funny part.
Was from the well? Was that in the Well Hung Gardens?
Yeah, we can never find them. Yeah, but I couldn't wait to jump on this pipeline tonight, and because I love me some Dirty Pool. This was I would say even not the entire genre. Because I had been exposed to blues at the college radio station, and so I'd seen it live, mostly live actually, and it was pretty good. So I'd gotten into it, but yeah, I was definitely a metalhead, far and away above anything else. When I heard Stevie Ray Vaughan, it was one of those things that takes you by surprise that you like it. And you're like, oh, this is good. This is really good. And then became my soundtrack to summer 2010.
Nice, good. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed the music. Can't stop the music.
Wait, that's for me a second. 2010, nice.
2010.
I was thinking like 1992.
Well, for me, it was 1982. But, never mind.
Oh, well, that's a good time to be young, but old enough.
Yeah. So, but thanks for being here, buddy. I appreciate it. And thanks for your help with wrangling chats and stuff. Hey, Salty, and thank you for being on the show, Salty Traveling C. It was good to see you, buddy. And let's do it again soon. Everyone in the chat. Well, first of all, I'd like to thank the mods. There were a few mods hanging around in there, including Sentient Dildo. I don't know if I should thank him, but I think I should thank him for being Sentient Dildo.
I'd like to thank the rockers.
Yes, we should do it. No, it's Sentient, buddy. I do appreciate you. Thanks for being here. You're always here. Appreciate that.
Courtney got a thanks for making the stream not a sausage fest.
Indeed, not a sausage fest. Indeed, it's more of a. And Davina's a mod too. Thank you, Davina. I think way earlier, D-Bud Martin, the wonderful D-Bud Martin, was modding. Lord Thoth was occasionally in there too. Thanks to all of them for continuing to mod and monitor. And we never have problems in the chat. That's probably because they're doing a great job. But everyone else in the chat,
a lot of the people that are my friends don't show up.
everyone else in the chat, thanks for being here. I do appreciate it. My apologies for any technical issues at the beginning. I think it turned out all right, didn't it? It was all right.
Yeah, we got there. May not have started well, but we ended it off strong.
Yeah. So once again, rest in peace, the great Stevie Ray Vaughan. I don't think we'll ever see your like again. And thank you for all the great music. Everybody, if you don't know him, just go into YouTube and watch some of those great performances. And then go out and buy some of those records. Buy some of them records. Because they're great. Until next time, I'm not going to plug anything because I'm just going to go away and shout at somebody in the Talk Studio for messing up my stream. But we'll be back with more stuff soon, I'm sure. There's going to be another Canon Film Club soon.
Yes.
Life Force is the movie.
Oh, excellent.
I don't know about the next music stream, but I do want to do another movie one that's not Canon. I do want to do Back to the Beach, I've decided. So
Back to the Beach or any of the 60s beach party movies. You should do
that one's the ultimate one though, because it calls back to all of those whilst introducing the modern.
But Annette Funicello and Frankie Avalon,
they were great. Annette Funicello, she's cute. So that's amongst others. There's other things being planned, but you'll also catch me on things like Midnight's Edge After Dark and the weekly wrap-up of Mead and the Cotton Council on Saturday nights and various other places, and a Rock and Roll Rowdies channel, which Courtney always supports. On Thursdays at 1 p.m. Mountain Time, we always do a weekly live show. They've actually there's going to be some big things happening with those guys because they've got some appearances on a digital radio channel called Evolution Music, which goes out to quite a few 100,000 people around the world. And we're going to start doing shows on there with those guys.
Outstanding.
Yeah. So, and the great Chris Rea. Great guy. Love Chris Rea. So thanks, guys. Have a great week. I will see you all again soon. Until next time, keep on rocking.